the march strategy. But before I do that, I'd like to introduce the longest running marijuana activist in British Columbia. He's been active since the early 1970s. He's one of the main guys responsible for the big victory at Insight, and he's done so much for our community for so long. Give it up for W Conroy, lawyer extraordinaire.
Thank you very much. Now, I don't know how many of you were here at 4:20, but the message I'm going to give you is much the same. The timing at the moment is very, very important. Sorry, as old guys, you know, our voices aren't as loud as they used to be when we were younger.
I got you now.
So, what's going on in the U.S. is a very, very significant thing. So the timing at the moment is very, very important. Washington State, Colorado, there's a whole number of other states that are lining up to do the same thing. There's even interesting things happening in the U.S. Congress. So you have to get with us now, because this is that good time for things to happen. While this is happening in the U.S., you need to join with Sensible BC, as Dana just said, so that we can do what they're doing in the U.S. The U.S. is going state by state with a recalcitrant federal government that won't do anything, and so that's what we need to do here in Canada. First BC, then Alberta, and so on. Each province across the country, just as they're doing in the U.S. So sign up with Sensible BC and be sure to talk to people in the other provinces to get things going in their provinces. The idea is to take away the power of enforcement of prohibition, defang it so that the police are treating it as the lowest priority, they're not spending money on it, so that it isn't enforced. We know that Harper is not going to change things, so we need to do this province by province. But there's also another important thing that's happening. Justin Trudeau, whose father was a big hit in my era, Trudeau-mania, his father said he would decriminalize. So did Jean Chrétien, who was the next Prime Minister. So did even Joe Clark, who was a Conservative Prime Minister. All these times we came up to the brink, and once they got elected, they said there were too many other important things to do, and they didn't carry on. But Justin Trudeau and the Liberal Party of Canada have actually put out a white paper that has considered legalization, not decriminalization, legalization in great detail, and he has come out publicly and said that he will legalize marijuana, not just decriminalize, legalize. Now, none of the other leaders of federal parties have said that, so at the moment he's the guy, and that's the party to vote for. And I'm not talking about in the next 2 weeks here in the province, I'm talking May 2015, federal election. So we've got a few years to get this going, get this happening, and make sure, mobilize in order to get the federal government to do what it has to do, while in the meantime we're getting the provincial governments to do what they should do. So that's the important message for the moment. So remember those key dates. Now, as Dana also just said to you, Harper is going backwards. He's brought in the mandatory minimums. So now, as he mentioned to you a minute ago, you can go to prison mandatorily. The judge doesn't have any say in the matter. You're forced. The judge is forced to send you to prison because of Harper and his government's policies. So whatever you do, get out and vote, and whatever you do, vote against Harper. That's the most important thing. One final little message, because I know we're short on time. They're also planning to change the medical marijuana access regulation. They've stalled that off a little bit now, but there's a big change happening there. There are people who have had to grow for themselves. That's the only way that they can do it economically, and they're going to have that taken away from them, is what is proposed by this new government. So that's another issue that we have to fight for. There are sick people who are getting this medicine. It's the only medicine that works for them. Then Alberta, and so on.